What's going on YouTube? Chris Journos Comics, and I'm not going to talk about comics today. I'm going strictly hardcore into Star Wars, The Last Jedi. Let me tell you guys, I went all out and spent the big bucks, got the big popcorn collector's edition with the drink and everything. I was so hyped. Like most of you, 2 years waiting, man, 2 years. And you know, I go into these things just like a little kid. And coming off the last movie, I really enjoyed The Force Awakens. I enjoyed the new characters. I thought it was refreshing after, the prequels. And, there was obviously controversy and a lot of negative, critics about how it was too similar to A New Hope and everything. So we go into this, and I'm gonna tell you guys, the previews just had me, man. I mean, I was so hyped. I was ready to go in. We're gonna find out who Snoke is. We're gonna learn about Rey and how corrupted Ben Solo is and what happened with him and Luke and all this stuff. And and before I go in, this is full on spoilers, guys. So if you have not seen it yet and you don't want the movie to be spoiled, please pause this video, turn it off, save it for later. But continuing on, guys, all of that stuff that I waited 2 years for, we got none of it. We got none of it. Now, I'm just off of it last night. Let me tell you, I left the movie theater like I didn't know how to feel. It wasn't like I left the movie theater like, oh man, this movie sucked. I didn't know how to feel. I was numb, scratching my head. Then I came home and I was just bugging. I was bugged. I was like, we don't know anything. They didn't answer any questions. I slept on it and I woke up and I was like, I am pissed off. I am pissed off. I am pissed off at The Last Jedi. And I'm going to tell you guys why. First off, we know that this is in Disney's hands. I'm a huge fan of what Disney and Marvel have been doing together. I'm a huge fan. They haven't really done wrong. I mean, the Volume 2 Guardians was kind of meh. Age of Ultron was kind of just a filler. But overall, Marvel, Disney has been just killing it. So, where did this movie go wrong? We know Disney has their hand in it. Rian Johnson, for me, who is this guy? Who gives him the honor to be able to touch a forbidden franchise like Star Wars? He did Looper. I mean, what? J.J. Abrams. I mean, he's done. What did he do? Heroes, Lost, Star Trek. What he did with Star Trek, I thought was pretty darn good. I mean, he's solidified himself. And I think he did a good job handling The Force Awakens. So, Rian Johnson, now, according to my knowledge, he wasn't the original director. And I was watching interviews from Mark Hamill himself, who said that he in the original team and the original director were like eye to eye on board with where the story was going, with where the story of Luke Skywalker was going. And then he personally said as well that he did not agree with the way Rian Johnson came in and the direction he put Luke into. He had disagreed with it. So I got a few notes here, and I'm going to start going into it. First off, 2.5 hours of movie, and we didn't learn anything. So obviously we have the parallels going on of Rey and Luke, and Kylo Ren. And then we have what was going on with the Rebel Alliance and Leia, Poe, Finn, and all this stuff. So I'm going to go, the first thing that I had a huge problem with was all the stuff that did not need to be in there. Finn and Rose. Let me say this. I don't believe in, what do they call it? Forced, diversity. I don't believe in forced diversity. We live in a diverse world. We live in a diverse country. If there are planets like there are in Star Wars, it's going to be a diverse galaxy. I really liked Rose's character. I liked the actress. I liked what she brought to the table, and I liked seeing an Asian uh, actress in a strong role like that. That was great. What I don't like though is forced plot and forced characters. It has nothing to do with race or ethnicity. Finn and Rose's whole deal was irrelevant, completely irrelevant, and it wasted time. When they went to Canto Bight and all this stuff, and even Benicio del Toro's character, wasted time. Benicio del Toro's character reminded me of like a salty freaking Brad Pitt from 12 Monkeys or something. Like, what was that stutter even about? I don't get it. It made no sense to even have any of that. You know what? All those scenes reminded me of like a Disney XD episode of Star Wars Rebels. I mean, that's the level of writing it was on, and just the whole script of it was freaking ridiculous. And in the meantime, we're trying to understand, here's Rey connecting with Luke. Where the hell has Luke been for freaking 30 years? Who the hell is Rey? What is her connection with Kylo Ren? And why is he being swooped in by this freaking mystery Sith Lord, or so it seems, Snoke? All this stuff was so much more important, and so much was taken away from it. So it didn't need to be there. It did not need to be there. Finn, who I thought was a great character in The Force Awakens, was freaking background noise. He had like a 2-minute fight scene with Phasma, which was cool, but I mean, good Lord. And everything that they did going to the casino and all that ended up like being irrelevant anyways, because it just put the fleet back in harm's way anyways. Admiral Holdo, Laura Dern, what was the point of that? Like, in the purple hair. I mean, I didn't get it. Where the hell did she come from? Who are you? And one thing that I'm not liking what's going on with this movie, and I guess where the Star Wars franchise is going, is, what made the original movie so great is that these, besides Harrison Ford having his success with American Graffiti and whatnot, these actors were nobodies. They were nobodies. And they made themselves through Star Wars. And as Star Wars gained fandom through the first 3 movies, they didn't add famous actors. In the second movie, Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. Why are they? Laura Dern? Why do we need? Oh, there's Laura Dern with purple hair. She's freaking 50 years old now. Cool. Like, do I care? Like, no. I mean, pointless. Freaking pointless, man. All right. We saw Leia use her Force, and I thought it was good because, there's been hints that, Leia is even stronger with the Force than Luke ever was, got all this stuff. So when she gets thrown out into space, but I thought they could have did it completely different. She didn't need to like fly back from space to do it. I thought for us to see her use the Force, I thought it could have been in ways that really pertained to who she is as Princess Leia. Maybe interacting with her son, maybe she used the Force with him, like something other than, floating through space and then blowing a door off and tasing Poe. Like, it was unneeded stuff, even though I understand what they were trying to hint at. Now here's my biggest issues with the whole thing. Like I said, I walked out of it. We got nothing. So we don't know. We're not anywhere closer to knowing who Rey's parents are. Obviously, Kylo Ren said that they're just a bunch of drunks and all this stuff that sold her. If that's true or not, we have no idea. Obviously, the dark side, and he could just be saying that to use her and manipulate her. We still don't know who Snoke is, and yes, as we know, he's freaking chopped in half. This is the biggest, I think, disappointment to me is Snoke. Who the hell is this guy, and why do we even care now? So, first off, I thought the Sith Lords were gone, but yet he has all the powers of one of the most powerful Sith Lords. He's shooting lightning. He's freaking throwing people across rooms. He's, putting implanted freaking visions into Rey and Kylo's minds and all this stuff. And it's like, and then, he sees everything coming, but freaking Kylo Ren, like, kills him and slices him in half. Do I care who he is now? I mean, what the hell? What's the point? And who is Kylo Ren? I'm not talking about Ben Solo. What makes Ben Solo Kylo Ren? We know. Say what you want about the prequels, but the reason why I loved Revenge of the Sith is because, and not hating Christian all you want. He acted like a spoiled little whiner, but I think it worked. And showing how he went from Anakin to Darth Vader. We saw the rage and everything take up. I mean, Padme and her being pregnant and dying. I mean, they at least did that very well. We saw what turned him. What turned Ben? So we get a story from Luke Skywalker that, he saw darkness in him. And then and then Luke Skywalker tried to kill him. And that's what turned Ben Solo into Really? I mean, it's that simple? Like, where does that even come from? Where was this buildup of turning Kylo Ren Ben Solo into Kylo Ren? It's not there. Whether it's there, we don't know it yet. Why don't we know it yet? We have one movie left and we don't know any of these things. And that goes to the whole Skywalker thing. Luke Skywalker. He's Star Wars. He's the freaking heart. He's the man. And yet he's been a hermit for 30 years and we don't even freaking know why. Really? I mean, he was, he's, the reason why Luke Skywalker was a hermit and was so bitter for 30 years is because he saw darkness in his nephew. That's not even explained, and he tried to kill him. That's another thing I have a huge problem with. That's not Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker faced his father and the Emperor, Palpatine, dropped his lightsaber and said he will never fall to the dark side. Basically saying, kill me. I will not strike my father down. But now, like, after he matures into a Jedi Master, now he's going to have a moment of weakness where he wants to, like, strike down a kid, his nephew. Bullshit. He would have let his nephew, excuse my language. He would have let his nephew strike him down before he would have raised a lightsaber at Ben Solo. So here's my problem, guys. Here's my problem. Where do these holes come from? Is it Disney? Is it Rian Johnson taking over and just throwing his stuff in? Because this is my problem now. Regardless of all these issues of us not knowing these things, we have one, whether or not they're there and the script is there and the plot's there and we just haven't seen it yet, are they really going to throw all this into one movie? And it's like, okay, let me talk about Rey going into the cave. Okay, she was so, Luke Skywalker says, he's in fear of seeing this much power in her. She's seduced to go into the cave. And she sees mirrors of herself. What does that mean? Let me give you an example of what this kind of ties into. Empire Strikes Back, when Luke was doing his training on Dagobah with Yoda, and he went into the cave and saw Vader and had to strike him down, and the mask came off and he saw his own face in there. The reason why, though, is because at the end of that movie, we find out that Darth Vader is his father. See, he's seeing himself in Vader because he is his son. What's the whole point of Rey going into a cave? Am I being too hard? Am I being too harsh? I don't know, guys. This just... Mark Hamill himself having an issue is a problem with me. And here's my thing. This trilogy was supposed to be about the Luke Skywalker, or the Skywalker legacy. Han died. in The Force Awakens. And the way they handle that, I cried. I thought it was perfectly handled. Now Luke's gone. Luke dies. I mean, he comes in spirit form or whatever to face Kylo, to be a distraction, to let Poe and Leia and all them escape. Which I get. If he would have came in person, they would have the AT-ATs or whatever they're called would have shot him down and killed him. So it was a good distraction. He got under Kylo Ren's skin and really drew him out, delayed it, whatever. And I guess it took a lot out of him, because then he's sitting there on looking at the sunset, which is an ode to like where it all started, in episode 4 with him, looking at the sunsets and knowing that he was meant for something great and this is his destiny, he fulfills it, and then he just disappears and goes to the Force and in his little coat flies away. Again, it's like when Han died, it's like, oh my gosh, you feel it. I didn't really, feel it that much. I was like, huh? Really? Now? And the whole, I got the whole message was he was doing that because what he said to Kylo about everything he said was wrong. He is not the last Jedi. Like, the Jedi's going to live on. Now they're going to be inspired. But who knows? Does anyone know what just happened? Does anybody know that Luke just freaking like basically sacrificed himself? No. Nobody saw. So, Leia and Rey felt it. So whatever. And then the training. He didn't even train her. He had like a meditation session or two. And he didn't even train her. So, big issues here. In the Skywalker legacy, Luke's gone now. And I heard that episode 9 was supposed to be Leia's biggest role. And now she's really gone in real life with Carrie Fisher being gone. There is no original characters left that we know of that are going to be in episode 9. And if they bring Luke back in freaking spirit form, why? Why kill him in the first place? Here's my thing. I'm not knocking on the new characters, okay? I love Rey. I love Kylo Ren. They're great. But these episodes are about the Skywalker legacy. If you want to just bring in new characters into the Star Wars universe, don't even have it correlate with the Skywalkers or the Solos at all. At all. Let that be done. And do your own thing. I think Luke Skywalker should have died in episode 9. Rightfully so. I think that between creative differences with Disney, because Disney wants to freaking sell tickets, and Rian Johnson, between them two, they delivered what I believe could be the worst Star Wars ever. Not necessarily because it's the worst cinematic piece of work, because you could say Phantom Menace, besides Darth Maul, probably is a worse movie. Because cinematically, visually, I was entertained. I was visually entertained. I loved what I saw throughout the movie. I loved what I saw. But in terms of making the next Star Wars movie, they failed it. At least the prequel stayed to, majority-wise, midichlorians, whatever, majority-wise, they stayed to the characters and the content to show us where Luke and Leia and all that came from. This, I think, completely goes in a whole separate direction, and not in a good way. Oh, he's taking this franchise into a whole new direction. Not in a good way. Not in a good way. So, I'm having negative feelings towards Rian Johnson as like I do Michael Bay, almost. Maybe even worse right now, at least. Maybe it'll subside. I don't know, guys. I don't know. So now let me kind of touch on where they might be able to make this right. And where I'm going to try to read in between the lines and find some positive things, okay? So, I want to know what drove Luke so deep, which would be the same thing that created Kylo Ren. We need to know. Kylo Ren didn't just have the darkness in him and all this, and all of a sudden he's seduced by Snoke. And we need to know, just like we saw Anakin freaking turn into Darth Vader in here, not just being freaking badass putting on a mask. We need to know that. We need to know more. Who are the Knights of Ren? Is it the other younglings that were the Padawans of Luke when he was doing his training? Where are they? What significance are they? What do they mean in the picture of all this? And who the hell is Snoke? Okay. So Palpatine told Anakin, I believe it was in Revenge of the Sith, where he told him about Darth Plagueis, I believe his name is, the greatest Sith Lord ever that mastered death. Because if you saw in the movie when they showed Snoke being cut in half and his lower body fell, it twitched, his legs kind of moved, so is he still alive? Is he really still alive? And is he Darth Plagueis, where he's gonna come back and he's gonna reveal himself? And was him allowing Kylo Ren to chop him in half, was that part of his plan too, Snoke's plan, to think that Kylo Ren has this ultimate power, which inevitably seeming is corrupting him more? Because I will say the one thing that I loved most about this movie was that moment where we thought that Kylo Ren was turning to the light and fighting with Rey in the Red Room, in Snoke's room, with the guards, and that was freaking awesome. That was my even though Snoke died, and I'm like, what the hell, really? That was probably my favorite moment in the movie. So we still need to know who Snoke is, and I hope it's kind of along the lines of what I'm saying, because if it's not, it's the most stupidest thing that I've ever heard of, to even bring this character on and just kill him like that and not even explain it. Now, another thing that I think, obviously, going in the cave was ridiculous with Rey. Who's Rey's parents? Obviously, we need to know. I want them to be somebody. But I think where the stories... And here's what I did like about Luke in the movie, okay? But I just thought they could have took away the Finn and the Rose and hella other crap and focused on Rey and Luke. What has Luke been doing? Why is he the way he is? They talked about why he wants the Jedi to die. See, he may have been bitter, but he was also enlightened. Luke was enlightened, and he talked about it briefly, about how the Force isn't just for Jedi. It was righteous and wrong of the Jedi to claim it. And he said, look at all the wrong, the worst things happen under the Jedi rule, council. So he knew that the Force is within everything and within everyone. And what they say is a Force sensitive. That's kind of happening now, as you see at the end of the movie, the boy bringing the broom to him. I like this. And this is what Luke Skywalker was enlightened to. But they don't even explain that, really. They don't even really dive into that to let you... I'm just putting the pieces together, assumingly. So, but what's going on is like a shift. It's like a collective consciousness in the galaxy where, the new generation, like that Generation X, is coming up and carrying the Force because they're, awakening. That's brilliant and that's beautiful, and it explains why Luke abandoned the Jedi and the Jedi texts and all that. But they didn't even dive into it. Did he? I mean, does Rey even understand this at this point? Maybe she will if she finds out who her parents are. I don't know, guys. But so, as you see here, I'm trying to find some positives to all the holes. I do feel that we should have been given something more on this movie, because I think they're going to have to jam so much in episode 9 that I don't know, that might be a train wreck too. So basically, to sum this up, I don't think Luke should have died the way he did. I think they did his character completely wrong. Luke Skywalker is the freaking Jedi. And he wasn't that in this. And I know he's old and whatever, and he's gone through, I don't care. Now that, see, when they found out that Carrie Fisher died, even if this was what they had, I think they should have changed it, because what are they going to do now? If Carrie Fisher was the Skywalker legacy, and then obviously passed down to Ben Solo, because Ben's, Kylo Ren is a Skywalker. I think what I think should have happened in this movie is they should have killed Princess Leia, facing her son in some way. Not saying that Ben should have killed. Obviously, that's not Ben Solo. That's not Kylo Ren. He still has something in him, the compassion, because he didn't kill her and he didn't kill Rey. He's not going to kill his mother, but maybe he could have seen her die at the hands of the, First Order or whatever. And then when that happens, for Luke to feel it, and then that's way in Episode 9, Luke comes out and says, you know what? I am not sitting back. I'm not being... And then he turns into the Luke Skywalker that we know. He trains Rey appropriately. And he freaking goes out in a blaze of freaking glory like Luke Skywalker should. But we don't have that. And we don't even have Leia. I don't know, guys. Was this movie a complete bust in terms of the Star Wars legacy? Am I being too harsh? Am I missing some of the positive things? I don't know. I've never felt this way coming out of a Star Wars movie. Never, even with the prequels. I'm really bummed, guys. I really am. This is worse than, my issues with Michael Bay's Transformers. Star Wars is sacred. And I don't think they went into the sacred. Well, I don't want to watch a Star Wars. I don't want to watch a Marvel movie that's Star Wars. Like I said, Disney does that great with Marvel. This isn't, why was Luke tickling Rey with a leaf? I laughed. It was funny, but that's not Luke. That's Yoda. That's Yoda. Luke throwing the lightsaber. I mean, that's Yoda. Not every character in a Disney, Marvel, Star Wars movie now should have some kind of quirky humor to them. It should be kept to the certain individuals. I like Finn's kind of quirkiness. Obviously, the droids are funny. The characters, the porgs, I loved them. They were so cute. They reminded me of my cat. Not everyone should have that. I don't know, guys. I could keep going on, but let me know what you think. I want feedback. I want answers. I want you to tell me, no, Chris, you're wrong. You're wrong about freaking The Last Jedi, and this is why. I want to hear that. I want to hear it. Please help me change my mind. Please give me some hope to know that it's not as bad as I'm saying it is, and that not all has been lost. I need your guys' help, please. I don't know. So I'll leave it at that, guys. I hope you enjoyed my input and my insight. If you have not subscribed, please do so. Check out some more on my channel. Leave your feedback. I will engage in some conversation with you guys, because this is going to be eating me up for 2 years until episode 9 comes out. So thanks again for watching, guys. Thanks for taking the time. Till next time.